Arsenal need silverware.
Man United, they had a lot of issues last season to have their dressing room.
Man City didn't have a midfield player that could do this last season.
The one team that I think could surprise you is Spurs.
Welcome along, it is good to be back, and what a team I have with me today. I'm joined by Peter Crouch, Joe Cole, Darren Fletcher and Owen Hargreaves. How's the summer been? Filmed any more TV ads?
Yeah, a couple more. Got another one after this. It's all good though.
Just selling everything on British Airways, isn't he?
Looking forward to the season ahead, Owen?
I think we all are. You know, I think obviously the Premier League teams get better and better every season. Everybody's done incredible business, so I think the Premier League's probably going to have its best season, I think, this season.
And we're going to talk about all that business very shortly as well. We'll talk about the season ahead, the title race, the relegation battle. Before we do that, though, before we even talk about football, I just want to take a moment, though, to talk about the devastating, tragic news this summer, the passing of Diogo Jota. So loved by the fans, by his teammates. Peter, he gave so much to football. It's such a huge loss.
Yeah, massively sad. I have to say, I think the way that the club, the players, the city of Liverpool have dealt with it has been fantastic. Obviously, he's going to miss him as a player, but within the dressing room as a person as well. I think he was obviously very, very well liked and sadly missed, but I have to say, I think it's been handled really well.
Absolutely, a great person. Always an absolute pleasure to interview. As a player, Fletcher, gave us so many great moments. He gave you one of your standout commentary moments, didn't he?
It's been so heartwarming since the tragedy to learn so much about him as a person, because I'm not a Liverpool supporter, so I wouldn't know the impact he had on the city and the squad and the feeling for him within the dressing room. But I think back to last season at Forest, one of the most remarkable things that Ali and I saw doing a game. The Forest were 1-0 up against Liverpool. Arne Slot made a double change and he sent on Tsimikas and Diogo Jota. And the first touch for Tsimikas was to take the corner, and the first touch for Diogo Jota was to score from the corner. And I'd never seen, and Ali hadn't either, two subs make an impact like that with their first touch having come on together in the same game. It was quite remarkable.
Yeah, that was Arne Slot. He couldn't do no wrong, could he? Imagine how you'd be feeling. You put two subs on, one first touch, bang, goal, brilliant.
It's amazing because actually his game garnered a lot of attention because of the goals that he scored, but it's almost like he didn't want to be the centre of attention. He was quite humble and quite quiet, which I think is an amazing attribute. We see a lot of, personality and egos in the game, but actually he was just that quiet superstar under the radar. Playing for Portugal and Liverpool, two huge teams, and he just did it with such class, which is a huge credit to him.
The club preparing for the season ahead in such difficult circumstances and all the sensitivity around that, but they have brought in Florian Wirtz, Joe, a club record signing for them. Do you think, from a football point of view now, when we look at the transfers, they've made a real statement there?
Oh, massively. When you see a player who can slow the game down like he can when he receives the ball, he was absolutely brilliant. I've followed his career since then. I think it's the signing of the season.
He's a bit like you, Joe, actually.
I was going to say that. It's like
like on the half turn, technically, he's really unique, and I think that's probably why they signed him, because in like those little tight half spaces, he's probably the best. He can get out of trouble, and he's a good finisher as well. Obviously, your game was really flary, whereas I think he's learned to be the focal point and actually get goals and assists. And I think, as much as he costs, people will be surprised how amazing he's going to be, and I think he just gives them something different.
Statistically speaking, there's only 2 players in the top 5 European leagues over the past 2 seasons to register 10 goals and 10 assists. Mo Salah, Florian Wirtz, both on the same team. I wonder whether you might get a little bit of what Bobby Firmino gave Liverpool when he's in the team, that ability to play just behind in those attacking areas, which was so important to them for so long. You could almost see Wirtz filling that little gap and giving them that kind of player again.
He will, yeah.
They've made some amazing signings, and obviously it was sort of, at the start of last year, everyone was criticising them for not being active in the transfer market at all, and then all of a sudden, bang, they've had a window like that, and I think it just makes everyone sit up and take notice, and it's obvious that they're the team to beat.
Quickly going back to the Wirtz thing, when was the last time Liverpool went a massive, because I think that's the statement signing. He's like the best young player in the world, or one of the best young players in the world, and they've just gone, right, 100+ million, there you go.
And normally they went to Bayern or Real Madrid. Do you know what I mean?
Dijk, when they went and just did that.
Yeah.
In an attacking sense, it might be Torres, when they signed Fernando Torres.
Yeah, a statement player, like everyone wants him.
Peter Crouch straight after Estêvão.
And did it so quickly as well.
Shook the world, that one.
Got it done.
Do you know what, though? On Ekitike, I think they're in such a position of strength that he's not been capped yet by France. 22 goals last season in Germany, but you're buying potential, and they're prepared to pay for potential.
So how big is that potential?
I don't think people realise how good Ekitike is. I mean, I stood on the pitch when they played Tottenham in the warm-up.
Yes,
and
we were there.
And he was about, Crouchy's obviously tall, but he's massive. And I remember stood next to him thinking, he can play, he's got a great touch, he's quick, he can play off the left, play as a striker. He's going to be, I think, amazing this year. Fletcher's right, he'll be a French international very soon. And it's amazing that he actually wants to take on a challenge like this. Obviously, he went to PSG and it didn't really work out. But I think now he's ready for this step.
He's got all the raw ability, like Owen said, like big unit, runs in behind, holds the ball up, scores goals. But you're right, Fletch, when he pulls that shirt on and it's that little bit more expectation, there's another 20 different messages every game for tickets, and you feel that you just start playing at a big club, it can weigh heavily on some shoulders, and you just don't know until he plays.
I think he could score 20 goals easy. I think in the end people are going to be shocked how talented this kid is.
The comparisons have been made with Thierry Henry.
Now we're talking.
Can he live up to that?
He's an absolute snippet, 80 on if he's as good as Thierry.
But you know what? I think because Thierry started on the left and then graduated to be a centre forward, those comparisons are quite relevant because when you watch them side by side, and we'll see it later, it is quite. I mean, obviously there's a lot to live up to with Thierry, but he's got something, that's for sure.
What about Arsenal then? How do we think they have done?
My question about Viktor Gyökeres is the Portuguese league isn't particularly strong. Prior to that, he was a championship player at Coventry. Yeah. And we've seen him score a certain type of goal. If you look at Gyökeres, he tends to pick the ball up, run into the penalty area and score. We're talking about Arsenal needing a penalty box predator to finish off the tight goals, the strikers' goals, the goals they don't score. Will he be good enough to do that? Is he that type of player?
I know what you mean. He probably hasn't done it at that level. But I think now he's matured enough at an age where he's ready to do this. And I think he's the missing piece of the puzzle. And I think, like Crouchy, you've got a big physical presence. Now you can cross it. If teams are going to sit in, you can just put it up there and he can go attack it.
No, I could be a meme here by the end of the season if he wins Footballer of the Year and scores 35 goals. I think there's more questions over him than most of these signings, just based on where he's been, the level he's been at. You know, Coventry, Sporting Lisbon.
Yeah, he hasn't actually played a
minute there trying to win a league
at
for Arsenal.
27 years old in the top 5 leagues in Europe. Yeah.
Centre forwards seem to mature later. There is that to it. I said, top 5 leagues, scoring 50 goals in any league, it's impressive. But I agree with Fletcher. I think there is definitely a little bit of not gamble, because but there's something on it. There's question marks.
I think the Zubimendi one's a fantastic sign. I think anyone would have taken him. Liverpool were after him last year, and does that free up Declan Rice to be able to go a little bit further forward. But I mean, if you look through the spine of that team now with...
Are they any nearer Liverpool, though, with what they've done? Or have Liverpool stretched it with what they've done?
They're much closer.
Even if we take Liverpool's signings into account as well, Arsenal have closed the gap.
Well,
I think Liverpool's summer's been better.
The best got better, but I mean, you have to argue Arsenal are way better.
Yeah, but I think Liverpool's group are better than Arsenal.
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
And they were ahead already.
We ain't even mentioned with Liverpool, Trent leaving as well. How influential has he been in the last 7-8 years? And Frimpong's a different player, so that changes the dynamics there. So Liverpool on paper look like they've got better, and they have. And Arsenal, I still think, look like they've pushed on as well. They'll be 1 and 2 this year.
Let's talk about Man United then. Shopping in the Premier League with Brian Mbeumo, Matheus Cunha as well. What do you think of those 2 signings?
Good players, very good players. I mean, experienced players, 25 and 26, proven goal scorers, I think, at this level as well. The only thing I would say is, based on the way Ruben plays, he signed 2 players that play his current 2 best players' position. Bruno Fernandes is a 10, and probably Ahmad, you could argue, is thereabouts, or a wing-back. So Mbeumo will probably play there, and Cunha will play there. And that formation dictates they're very rigid in that, but fabulous sign.
Do you think their biggest problems then still need to be addressed, going off what we're saying there?
Obviously, the goalkeeping situation last year was farcical at times. We've always said about the Amrin, the way he wants to play, and getting fullbacks, wing-backs was so important. Yet they've signed players that are very good players, but do they address the issues that Man United, and let's be honest, they had a lot of issues last season, finishing, towards the bottom end of the league. So those needed to be addressed. Have they addressed them? I'm not so sure.
The thing that worries me about Cunha is I think he's a brilliant player, a fantastic player, wonderful goals, does everything. But whenever you hear little things about his attitude, I'm not saying he's a bad lad because I wouldn't want to say that, but he's a bit of a maverick. I've heard people talk about being a bit of a maverick. The last thing Man United, that dressing room needs is another maverick. It's mavericks everywhere. Do you know what I mean? And they, you know, putting stuff on social media and all that, and you know, players. You hear too much coming out of that dressing room, so it's a gamble, Cunha.
They have to have a good start, United, as well. I think, like, you know,
well, the first game they got Arsenal, haven't they? Old Trafford. They got a tough start. I think they got City and Chelsea in the first 5 games, so you'll know straight away, you know, what the script's going to be.
Who are you most excited about of all the players Chelsea have signed? They've obviously brought in Joao Pedro and getting signing young again.
Yeah. The Joao Pedro one, he come straight off the Copacabana beach at the World Cup and just whipped 2 in, you know, and he looked like he'd been a Chelsea player for years. I know that the people at Chelsea were really, really pleased with the summer. You know, they got the players that they want. But I think Joao Pedro, he's been bought, Joao Pedro, to play in that role where he scored 10 goals last year. He can play centre forward, he can play off the left, and he can play off the right. And I think they probably don't realise how much of a good player they've got. I think there's another level for him to go up.
One thing I would say, Estêvão, this kid is like Cole Palmer style of play.
Yeah.
And I think people are going to be blown away by him. Obviously, he's very young, but talent-wise, I think he's one of them. He'll get people off their seats. And I think about him and Cole Palmer together with Joao Pedro. I mean, Chelsea, really, if they just add a keeper, they'll be in the top 4. For sure.
I think they finished above City, Chelsea.
Wow.
But they gave a lot of games away last season, didn't they? With errors. A lot of goalie made a lot of them. He finished the season quite well.
Well, they kept chopping and changing, and you know, like you can't look at all the great teams that have won titles, particularly in the Premier League. All of them had a top goalie.
100%.
It's just for me, just logical. Just logical. Like we need to sort that.
Does anyone else agree with Crouchy that Chelsea finish above Man City?
Yeah, go on in, Linz.
He's got to say that.
Of course you do.
I'd say no.
We'll talk more about that after the break, because we're going to hear more about the title race, the relegation battle, and also the guys' predictions for the season.
I think Pep looks revitalised.
I'm so confident in Liverpool.
I think Arsenal will be the ones that will be closest to them.
Chelsea winning the World Club Cup, you start believing in winning and what you're doing.
I think if they get it right, they could win the league.
Welcome back. I want to talk a bit more about the title race now. Of course, Liverpool won it convincingly last season, and as well as a record signing, they've also secured Mo Salah and Virgil van Dijk on new contracts as well. Crouchy, just how important is that as well?
Yeah, I think obviously the talk was getting boring, wasn't it, last season, let's be honest. It was obvious that Trent was going to be leaving, but I think out of the 3, as good as Trent is, I think securing those 2 was just paramount. I think they're in the peak of their powers. I mean, Mo Salah last season was absolutely fantastic.
I'm fascinated to see Liverpool this season because they've not got Trent Alexander-Arnold, who's been such a good provider. But then you look at Frimpong, who's coming in, 19 goals and 19 assists over the last 2 seasons in Germany. So arguably they get a better goal-scoring threat from the full-back position. They've not got the range of passing, but they've got a player that's going to get forward and get balls into the box and feed Ekitike, Salah, whoever else is up there. So in a way, you could see the Alexander-Arnold thing as a potential negative for them. But then you've got a slightly different fullback who is an attacking player, has been as good as anybody in Europe in that position over the past 2 seasons.
Well, to be fair, I mean, they've got 2, haven't they? Gyökeres, you could argue, he covers the whole left-hand side. Well, he did at Bournemouth on his own. Let's look at a couple of these clips here. I mean, he literally bursts up this left-hand side, and I think you'll see Gakpo come inside, Wirtz come inside, more on the other. I mean, he covers distances, which I think it's just amazing. I mean, look at this, Fletcher. You know,
That's Andy Robertson 2 or 3 seasons ago.
Yeah, it is, yeah. And he's been a brilliant servant, Andy
Robertson.
But I think Gyökeres now, he just gives them so much. I mean, I love this one.
This is the goal, isn't it?
Yeah, look at him.
We were at this game.
That's the 95th minute, Crouchy.
Yeah, do you know what? I think he was had his hands on his knees.
Yeah. How about that for
all of a
step
sudden
over
you've
as well?
seen it and then unbelievable finish.
Thanks for taking me back to that game. Owen, appreciate that one.
And this is Frimpong, and this is what he's going to give them. He's so athletic, it's actually amazing. Watch this. See the lad, the 6 there? He thinks I'm going to get the ball. Watch how quick this press is. Whoop. I mean, look at this. You know, if you think back, if this was Trent, what's going to happen?
He's whipping that.
Crouchy, exactly, 100%. But the lads know because of his game, he's not that type of player. Look at that. And now look, Wirtz already knows. Look at Wirtz there. Wirtz already knows that's cutting back, and that's where you're going to get a lot of. You're going to get a lot of cutbacks. You can get bodies flooding the box. They're different, I think, with Frimpong. But I just think with Gyökeres and Frimpong and Wirtz, all of a sudden at Ekitike, they got so many goals. I mean, let's look at Wirtz because this kid is very unique.
Is he the signing of the season, you think, so far?
The only problem is the price tag, because he's just so expensive, so people are going to expect crazy numbers.
Yeah.
But I think what he does, he gives them something really different. Look at that, Joe. You know, in and around that half turn, he takes it perfect. He's got great awareness where he needs to be, can finish with both feet, can play as a false 9, can play as a 10. But look at this little pocket. That's the hardest thing, I think, in football, to sit in amongst all that chaos. Yeah. And look how he comes out, Joe.
That first touch in that move was sensational because he's had to pause his body, just take it on, and then he's wriggled out of it. He's just a natural footballer, isn't he?
Yeah.
The more we talk about Liverpool, we talk about Frimpong and Gyökeres, Salah coming in, you're like, I just can't look, I can't see past them now.
No, but look at this, Joe. I mean, you think back, obviously, an old school 10, yourself, Mesut Ozil, or, you know, all these, Wesley Sneijder, they didn't have these numbers in terms of possession one, in terms of pressing. I mean, look at that. We're talking like defensive midfield play numbers in terms of goals and assists, but we're talking elite numbers. Yeah. Let's look at Ekitike. Obviously, Darwin Núñez played a lot there. To be fair, Diaz played there. A lot of guys played there. But actually, this kid, you know, this is at Frankfurt. This is what he's got. He's got a bit of cheek about him. Look at this. Come here, what you got? Little step over. Boom, I'm in behind.
Yeah,
you know, for beautiful. A big lad, you know, he's got great feet. That's where there's weaker left. You know, watch this one.
There's no right to score.
What about this little cheeky?
I love this.
Close your legs, lad.
Oh.
Yeah.
And that's smooth as well.
This one is my favourite. This is the Thierry one. You know, he sets you, come here, I'm coming inside. Crouchy, watch how clean this is. Just passes it.
I mean, a little bit of Freddie Canuto.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? Like
Big Fred. I played with Big Fred.
Good feet.
Yeah.
Like
hold the ball up. Yeah. He's got that.
Past
yeah. He's got everything.
With the signings that they've made, that obviously the players have secured on new contracts, are they prime favourites to make it back-to-back titles?
I think not only that, I think they are probably the most clear favourites to win the league than we've seen in the last 10 years.
The best got a lot better, didn't they?
The best have got better again, and they've raised the bar.
I agree with Joe. I think they're streets ahead.
Miles ahead.
And my concern now is that we went into last season and the season before and the season before and we said, Arsenal are really close. This could be the year. Even though Arsenal have done what they've done, it feels to me almost like that window's closing because Liverpool are going away.
They've missed their stop, Arsenal.
Man City have had the blip and now they've retooled and you think that Pep's going to go again.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at the next 3 or 4 seasons now and I'm wondering whether those two, and Chelsea have just won this big tournament over the course of the summer and feel really good about themselves and they've gone for young players. Arsenal are the what out of everybody, those 4, they'd be the one that I'd be concerned about. But I'm so confident in Liverpool.
Arteta has been there, Owen, since 2019. How much pressure is he now under to deliver a major trophy, specifically the Premier League?
There is pressure on Mikel, but I do think you got to be quick not to kind of pull the plug on that because I do think Arsenal are headed in the right direction. Only one team can win the league. Or the Champions League. We've seen how hard that is for teams, but I think Arsenal are close. They just got to invest in that squad to push it so they can take the final step, which I think is the hardest part.
Do you know Arsenal strike me as a club, like just when they've been close the last 3 years and they've got there was such a nervousness around them on title run-ins and that can build pressure. You know, Chelsea winning the World Club Cup, and obviously the Conference League as well, that all breeds something. You start believing in winning and what you're doing. Arsenal need silverware with this group of players because they've got a fantastic bunch of players, a brilliant manager. But if you keep constantly being the bridesmaid and never the bride...
But do you gain experience from every time you get that?
Yeah, but you do gain experience, but also anxiety can build. They need to go and win something.
I think if they get it right, they could win the league.
This year?
Yeah. But obviously it has to be...
No chance.
You think about the first game of the season, Fletch, against Man United at Old Trafford. That's a marker in the sand.
It's an awful start, Owen, as well. It's Man United, then it's Leeds, Liverpool, Forest City, Newcastle. That's brutal. And if it's not a strong start, that pressure could ramp up quite quickly.
And then there's pressure on everyone.
Yeah.
But Joe made a really good point. You have to just show you're ready for this now. You know, PSG took a step, said, right, we're going to go win the Champions League, change a few things, pressed more, play as a team. I think Arsenal are very close. They have almost all the ingredients, but goal scoring will be how they win or lose it.
I think they've got all the tools to win a league. I think if Gyökeres, if he goes and scores, he straight away hits the ground running. I think they're defensively they're as good as anyone. They've got talent. They've got people that can unlock doors. Saka's a fantastic player. Odegaard. They've got all the tools to go and win the league. And I think if Liverpool go through a little spell, then I think Arsenal will be the ones that will be closest to them.
Man City, then, Joe, recorded their lowest points tally under Pep last season. What do you expect from them this season?
I expect them bouncing back. You think about that group of players. First day pre-season, Rodri, Ballon d'Ors, he's coming back into the fold. That lifts everyone. You got Marmoush for a whole season. I think that lifts everyone again because I think he's a real good player. I think Pep looks revitalised. He was so good at what they'd done and everything about Manchester was so good. Nobody saw this spell coming and now it's here. I think he's probably lit a fire under Pep and I think he's going to come back with something and it'll shape it round and it'll revitalise the whole club.
And they got a bit complacent, I think, in the transfer market. I think because they won so much, they stayed so loyal. Think about a lot of guys fell off last season. Think about Bernardo Silva, Kevin De Bruyne, Gundogan, Foden. All of a sudden now, I think they realised they needed to revitalise the midfield.
The squad planning needs.
And I think the one thing
better.
they've done really well, I think, is add a bit of energy into the side. And Reijnders from AC Milan, we'll see a few clips of him here.
He was the Serie A midfielder of the season.
This kid, Rodri in behind him as an 8, and then whether it's Cherki or Foden as a 10, this kid's got amazing energy. Big lad as well, can play technically very good. I think all of a sudden now, they have energy in that team. Last season they looked flat, but this kid can get up and down. I think he's going to give them so much. And as well, even in these positions, he's a good finisher. He just passes that one to go. Watch this clip, by the way.
Cool.
Wait. 1, 2, 3. See you later. Chop ya.
See you later.
He's got the lot. And you think Man City didn't have a midfield player that could do this last season? Look, how about this?
Oh.
You think about Rodri in behind there, and then him and one of those 10s with his Cherki or Foden. This kid, by the way, I'm really excited about Cherki, Rayan Cherki. At £30 million.
I think we're all excited about watching him, aren't we?
But you know what? He's 2-footed. Amazing finisher. He's been a pro since he's 16 years old.
Joe, you're just sitting back enjoying watching that, aren't you?
I thought he was on the couch there.
Wow, yeah, that's that. Looking forward to watching him. He put a couple in the
Joe, golden involvements last
season.
season. I think he had 30 plus goals and
Do you know
assists.
what I like about him, though? I've heard a couple of quotes about him, and he's having himself.
Yeah, big
but
time.
in a nice way. He's like.
I mean, you were too, weren't you? In a good way, though.
Yeah.
No, but I think you need that as a 10, don't you? Give me the ball. I'm going to make something happen.
No, but I think he was talking about Ballon d'Ors and things like that. I'm like, I like that though. Because when you're them players like that, you've got to go.
He can certainly win one at Man City. I'm not sure he's winning one at Lyon, but he can win one there.
Yeah, exactly.
He's got the stage now. The only downside would be sometimes players have gone into a Pep system, and this is a relatively new-look Manchester City team, and it can take you a season to properly adapt. If they're going to push Liverpool, they've all got to settle in straight away.
Well, who's going to replace De Bruyne? I know they signed some great players, but King Kev, I mean, he's one of the best we've ever had.
There was a little bit of sentimentality from the owners and the people making the decisions at Man City with De Bruyne, with Bernardo Silva.
Captain this year.
Yeah.
They made him captain this year.
Yeah, can he bounce back? Do you know what I mean? Can he be the one that gets back to them levels? And it might be having energy around him, because when you had him and Kevin in the same team, as great as they were, you need energy.
City need a right back, don't they?
Of course they do. That's the big one.
The team's quite complete, actually.
Tino Livramento, take more of Lynsey's players from Newcastle.
Can we stop now, please? Anyway, Chelsea completed the top 4 last season. Do you think anyone else can break into it? The top four teams from last season are in the top 5 of the biggest spenders this summer already.
Yeah.
So,
I mean,
can anyone get close? See the way I moved on from Livramento
Is this
there.
the Forest chat? Is the top 4 the Forest chat?
This is the Forest moment.
Harsh.
Or Villa, or Newcastle.
Yeah.
I mean, who
Problem
do you
is,
think can
Lynsey,
push the
everybody's
top 4?
kind of playing in Europe, and I think obviously Newcastle being back in the Champions League, they could be one. Tottenham, they've signed Kudus, he could, but I just think that first 4, just think they're so strong.
It felt like Villa and Newcastle were about to make that step. If Newcastle go and lose Livramento, lose Isak, and like you say with Villa, Rashford, Asensio's gone. It felt like they were so close, and then things have just been stripped away from them a little bit, so that the four have then gone again.
For those to get near, based on the work that the big sides have done already, it's hard.
So we're saying the same top four.
I think so,
as
yeah.
last
Do you know
season.
what though? The one team that I think could surprise you coming from far is Spurs, and it's only because of the Thomas Frank. And I like Kudos as well, but we're getting there.
Hold that thought,
Hold
because
that
when we
thought,
come
yeah.
back after the break, we'll talk more about predictions, about the relegation battle, and the guys will share their thoughts on where they think Man United and Spurs will finish.
I think exactly what that club needs at this time is a Thomas Frank character.
United, I think, will make a huge jump.
This could be a really difficult season for Wolves.
Have Everton strengthened enough?
I think Burnley could be the ones that stay up.
Welcome back. Well, guys, it's time to get some quick fire predictions from you all now. We're going to start, Peter, with you. And who's going to win the Golden Boot?
I think it's between two. I think Haaland and Salah, but Salah.
Joe?
Haaland.
That was
Okay.
quick fire. You've
Well, you
surprised
said
me.
quick fire?
I
Can't
did,
get any
but I
quicker than
didn't
that, can you?
expect you to
One word.
listen. Fletch?
Haaland.
Haaland's going to be back
Yeah.
to his best. Owen?
Mo Salah.
Any reason?
Just Mo Salah.
I love it. Player of the year, Crouchy.
Oh, player of the year. That's a tough one. Well, I think player of the year comes from the team that wins the league, right? And I think Wirtz, yeah. I think he'll be class.
I don't necessarily think it has to come from the team that wins the league, but I think I'm going to go with Cole Palmer. I just love watching him. Like, it's just mesmerising, isn't he? Like the way he plays.
Fletch, what about you?
I think we should all do something different here.
Yeah, go on.
So I'm going to go bounce back year for Phil Foden, player of the year.
Bounce back ability.
Bounce back ability, said Ian Dowie.
Back
There we go.
stronger.
Back stronger.
Foden back stronger.
I'm going to go tried and tested Virgil van Dijk.
Wow.
defender.
Centre half.
Yeah, they'll have the best defence, I think. And Virgil, just with his captaincy, I just think you don't win it without a guy like that. I just think he gives them so much.
So much new talent in the league, so much young talent. Who's going to be the breakout star?
Breakout star. I just love what Arsenal have done with the youth players coming through there. Max Dowman's someone that's been on everyone's lips. I think he's certainly someone that pre-season looks like. I mean, he's ready. We know he's going to be a player. We know it. It's just when.
Declan Rice says the best 15-year-old in the country.
Yeah,
That's mad, 15 years old.
I've
He's
seen
amazing.
a little bit of him, and he honestly,
He looks like he's 18, doesn't he?
he's playing like. And obviously, this is a ridiculous statement, but the way he plays like Messi. He's literally like coming inside. He's going past people at ease, and obviously, he's not there yet. But he's got all the attributes to be anything he wants to be. So, but I think Ranieri as well, Miles Skelly. I mean, he's an older statesman now. But those players coming through at Arsenal for me are the ones to watch.
Cherki. 21. Is he still classed as a breakout?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Ish.
Breakout in the Premier League. Them clips that Owen showed us, yeah, they got me salivating. He's going to put a few people in
He's
a back.
a proper maverick,
Yeah,
isn't
he's
he?
a maverick. I love him.
Who are you going for, Fletch?
I sound like I'm having a Man City loving. I've got Haaland, top scorer. I've got Phil Foden, player of the year.
Is this because Noel keeps getting your tickets?
Probably, yeah. In the summer of Oasis. Yeah. I think Nico O'Reilly. I think he'll play a big role at Manchester City.
Yeah,
this
that's a
season.
good
I think
shout,
we've seen
Fletch.
enough, and I think
Good
he
shout.
can play a prominent role.
I'm going to say, I know he just started playing for the first team, the young boy at Liverpool. He's only 16, I think he's 17 this week. Rio.
Nuana, is it?
I mean, honestly, he's going to hurt some people this season. Even he scored a goal, I think, the other day. And Virgil van Dijk and Mo Salah on the bench, just like...
It's just whether or not he gets enough games.
Obviously, yeah, but I just think in terms of breakout, couldn't get any more breakout than
He's getting a lot of attention in pre-season, isn't
Yeah.
he? That's for sure. Who do you think is going to make the biggest improvement as a team on last season? I mean, there's probably two obvious answers here.
Yeah, Man United and Spurs are the ones that spring to mind. It couldn't have gone any worse, really, could it? Thankfully, Tottenham got over the line in the Europa League, got a trophy, and I just don't think that they can be anything like they were last season. So I think they'll probably have a lot better season than they did last year.
How's Frank going to do you think?
Yeah, I think he'd be brilliant. I think exactly what that club needs at this time is a Thomas Frank character.
I'm tempted to say Chelsea and Manchester City because I think they'll be significantly nearer to Liverpool. I don't think it's going to be double figures between anybody. I think it's going to get to the last 2 or 3 weeks of the season. So I think those two clubs, Chelsea and City, will make it a 4-way title race.
Owen?
I'm going to go United. I just think they can't be worse, can they? 15.
Are we going to see a revival?
Yeah, they'll get better, but the problem is the gap's just too big. So I'm going to say United. Tottenham as well, but United, I think, will make a huge jump.
Where will Man United finish?
I'd say 7th.
The relegation battle then, the 3 promoted teams last season all went down really convincingly as well. Do you think we're going to see the same situation this time around with Leeds, Burnley and Sunderland?
It's hard to bet against it, Lyns, you know. It's like you say, the last 2 seasons, that's what's happened. There are teams that have struggled, they've lost players. West Ham, I think Wolves can get dragged in. Have Everton strengthened enough? You know, how will they fare in the new stadium? So I do think there are teams that, you know, if you are those promoted teams, you are looking at to if you finish above them, you stay up. So there is hope for them, but it's thin, unfortunately.
But I think this could be a really difficult season for Wolves, unless they surprise us. But they've just gone through 2 or 3 summers now where they sell the best players all the time, and I don't think you can keep doing that. I think this season we'll get 1 stay up, and I think, even though it'll annoy you, I think Sunderland find a way to scramble and stay in the Premier League.
It's way too positive for me, that Fletcher. Wouldn't you agree, Sunderland?
That's why those teams that play the least football will have the most success. Yeah. They're not trying to play out all the time and play. You think about Southampton, they put a clinic on how to get relegated and play up on the back. No, honestly,
Sorry.
You can.
That's a brilliant shout.
Joe, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know, you're right.
They were down by the end of September last season, weren't they, really?
Burnley did it a couple of seasons ago. Southampton had the 5th highest pass completion percentage in the whole division. 5th highest, and one of the worst teams we've ever seen. Think about that. So they kept the ball for what? To get relegated. That's crazy.
On that basis, that puts Burnley in a position of strength.
Big time.
I think.
Yeah. That's what I mean. If you defend well, you give yourself a chance.
I played in one of the most ugliest teams you've ever seen in your life, right? Stoke City, right? It was never pretty. And no one liked coming out.
You guys are the hardest team to play.
3 top 10 finishes in the Premier League. You know,
exactly.
Scott Parker an advantage there as well, then, because he's been there before.
Scotty's been at it for he's got a few promotions, and I think he would have learnt from being in the Premier League with his experience with Fulham and Bournemouth. And I think he's looked at that Burnley team last year and gone, I fancy I've got one of the strongest squads. I fancy we're going to go up, but I think preparation was already started 6-12 months ago with Scott about staying in the Premier League. Not Sunderland. I think Burnley could be the ones that stay up.
Let's stay up. Guys, that's all we've got time for. Thank you very much indeed. I've enjoyed it, and you can enjoy the Premier League on TNT Sports and Discovery Plus. I think we're in for an absolute belter.